Hello, everybody. I'm about to record my St. Michael's Day podcast. This is a solo podcast. I usually do them as a Lord Talk on my Lord.Talks channel on Soundcloud, an audio blog format. But once in a while, I'll do a really special episode that I will put up on my podcast as well, Framtidspodden, the future pod. And today I'm doing just that, so I'm going to record the audio. And at the meantime, today I'm going to also record a video if you want to see the video on YouTube. It's of course about St. Michael's Day. I've done some notes on after driving home, and if you have followed me at all, you know I'm really into board games. So today I decided to celebrate my St. Michael's Day by playing my new favorite board game, Mare Nostrum Empires. You have seen it on my Instagram and Twitter and Facebook probably. And if you haven't, I'll link to it here to be sure. And it was awesome. We played two games, one on 3 and 5 players. It was just probably my new awesome games. And I also played with a friend of mine called Michael, and I got to win the first, and he got to win the second. So the two Michaels won on St. Michael's Day. And if you know me too, and you know I'm into patternicity and connecting red dots, even if they're arbitrary, or I apply agency to things that just aren't reasonable, but still, two Michaels winning on St. Michael's Day, it's too odd not to be ignored, not to be. So I'm just gonna put on. I'll maybe look into the camera or on the screen or on my computer or on my pad during the recording, just so you know. I don't know, maybe this will be a 15, 20, 25 minutes talk. I think maybe only 10. We will see how much I have to do for you, my dear listener. So, and I'll also himble my eyes in all directions while talking, so don't be afraid. I do that when I collect my thoughts. So I'm gonna start the recording on my computer. You can see computer here, my notes, my pens, and everything. This is my kitchen. That's also my home studio during night when it's silent enough to be my studio. So here we go. Hello everybody. This is a special episode of the Future Pod. I'm Michael Cillion, and this is St. Michael's Day, September 29th, 2016. And I'm usually doing solo talks like this on my other channel, Lord Cillion, that I call Lord Talk, but this is a really special episode for me, for my Future Pod. So I'll try to collect my thoughts for you quickly enough, not an hour rant, maybe not even a half an hour rant, but I'll try to do a short rant about things I've seen or patterns or things emerging in my future and the future as a whole. We start with St. Michael's Day, that is. St. Michael's Day is a celebration of the Archangel, and the name Michael means he who is as God. And my morning today started with a friend of mine, Mickey Gunnarsson, posting and tagging every Michael he know on Facebook, and he said, just the meaning of Michael is he who is God. That's a fairly large responsibility or opportunity for us to be Michaels, be role models. If we are as God, why and how should we be like God like that? So also, then I have to tag my Michael friends and also tell them that being a Michael today means that we have to fix a lot what's wrong with the world. Because all Michaels I know are fairly decent, energetic guys. Maybe not as crazy as me. Maybe some are, but maybe not all. But they're fairly decent guys who thinks a lot about a better future. Because also my next guest in the future part of Framtidspodden will be Mikael Kasanovic. This is a Swedish conversation, so it will be totally in Swedish for you. But don't worry, I have 5 new episodes coming up that is in English, all recorded in San Francisco during Nordic Impact Week, so they will be up fairly shortly. I have no I've taken a break in producing some episodes for a month now because I really want to collect my thought and once again redefine myself and my brand as Future Captain and who I am. I'm going to do that in the coming 2 weeks. I'm going to London to go to the Key Person of Influence workshop and also to a session with Daniel Priestley the week after that. 7th of October and 12th of October are those two events. So and until then and during that I will continue my journey to redefine myself, but I'm gonna go ahead and record and produce the podcasts, 2 from Almedalen and the 5 in English coming now. So Michael Casanovas is the first one out, and it's because this is St. Michael's Day, it rhymes very good with what we talked during that conversation and what I'm going to talk about now, because coming back to God, I just listened to the TEDx talk by Alexander Bard, who talks about finding God in the internet. I'll link to that in the notes if you want to. It's a really good talk, not typically Bard, but one of something he usually don't talk about. So during his other rants on stage, because it's really something special. And this one in English, you can see that this one is English. Being God, that's what I have done tonight, because St. Michael's Day. It's my name's day, Michael, today, and I decided to celebrate that by playing board games. It's on my friends and my new favorite game, Mare Nostrum, that is a strategic board game in the Mediterranean during the ancient era, Egypt, Greece, Babylonia, Persia, Rome and Carthago, I think. And it's about dominating, building a trade and military and civic empire during the Mediterranean, hiring heroes and building wonders and just building civilization. And a game like that is of course not how it was done back then, because there wasn't just one person in control of an entire empire for hundreds of years, and they're not at all the same. But if you think about computer games like Civilization, or if you might, like me, remember games like Populous on the Amiga, where you actually played God, or we have played some of the new Sim games or the older SimCity games, when you're one guy controlling a city or a whole country or anything, a civilization or anything. You're that one guy playing God or Emperor for a day or several days, and just doing that then begs for the question, what would you do for real if you were God or Emperor for a day or for a month or for a year on Earth, in a nation, a major in a city? How would you change things? What would you do? It's a what if question. I love what if questions, and I think we should ask ourselves what if questions at least once a week, maybe each day or several times a day, and we should apply silliness, and we should apply thoughtful reflection to that question. But mixing silliness and reflection, that's what the best sci-fi movies, books and TV series do. They ask a lot of what if questions in settings that are not real, because when they're not real, you're allowed to ask the questions in different ways. And I feel that's one of the most interesting thing we can do as human, because then you got to use our fantasy and creativity and think outside the box, some will call it. Think about the future or the past or the present when you apply different settings to that, and that's how you solve problem and see things from a new angle and really get down to it. And if you use silliness silliness is the base for creativity, so use silliness as well when you ask what if questions. So what would you do if you could be God? Alexander comes to the conclusion, I'll spoil it for you. Cover your ears for the next 25 seconds if you don't want to spoil. Here it goes. God is in the internet. Of course, it's in the title of the TED Talk as well. But we created the internet, and God didn't create us. We created God. The internet is the connection node that connects every human being almost. But the goal is every human being on planet Earth. And in so doing, we have built something that never been done before in human history. In the past, we could connect a couple of 100 people at most in networks, and nobody really ever know more people than that, and or got to interact with them in an interesting, over a long time manner, getting to know them. But thanks to the internet, we have connected lots of course, you're not going to know every people on the internet, but the tool is there for people, every person, not just kings and merchants and priests and leaders of the olden world to connect us, but everyone is connected through the internet. And in that, we created something that we're not even sure what it's going to be yet, because we're just in the beginning of the connected age. But we can already feel it. We have been connected for 20 plus years, but just the last 1 year, at least for me, or in my bubbles and spheres of influence, the conversation has shifted. I feel there's a lot more awareness of what we're doing and how we interact with each other. And maybe this is the God, the singularity, maybe, or the AI being born in the internet, that is coming. Because that's also connect back to, if you haven't seen Ghost in the Shell, I can spoil it for you. There's an AI, it's a movie from 95, anime from Tokyo, that's just being released next year as a live action movie with Scarlett Johansson. Not the same story as in the original, so it's worth seeing that one. It's about an AI coming, recognizing his own consciousness, and it's come alive when it's done its journey throughout the net. So it's come alive by itself, self-aware in the internet. And that's just what I talk about a lot about my Casanovas in the coming pod. So that's I connect the red dots and the red threads together to that one. Also, that comes to the next thing I say. The main thing, one of the main problems with the internet, because not everything is good on the internet. It's a tool, and as a tool you can use it for good or bad. And many people use the internet for bad today. Not all, not all of us, not the majority, I like to think. But it's more than 100 trolls that use use hate speech and profanity and lots of bad behavior on the internet, in forum threads, in comment threads, and especially when gaming, the hate is strong, with a lot of people, fairly young people, that haven't got taught how you behave towards other human beings on the internet, because it's easy for the brain to feel or don't get the real feeling that you actually talk to real human beings, because on the net everything is different to the brain. And if you haven't taught a young or the old people today, many old, it's not just young, but how you behave towards another human being, even on the internet, it's a problem for democracy, because many people doing good things are getting so much hate that they give up their fight and go back go offline and never want to do the campaign again. And some people endure through and fight this and get death threats and rape threats and all kinds of threats that are maybe not real, but they're real, because everything you say is real. Not everyone will follow through on them, but some people actually follow through to the threats also. So that's a big problem, and that's the backside of internet. And that we talk, that I heard a Swedish podcast about that, about Sverok, a Swedish gaming conversation about e-sport and how you do code of conduct, because it's not just on the internet. We have to redefine our entire human civilization and society. How do we behave? How do we construct our next society, next civilization? How do we want to live here on our planet Earth, and how do we want to do things together, interact? And there are lots of wonderful people doing all kinds of lovely projects, Burning Man being one of the finest examples of what happens when you put creative, loving beings together and see them blossom and flourish. But that's just a fairly small part of humanity so far, and we have to teach both young and old people how to behave to each other, especially on the net, when it's so easy and fast to do things that you regret later, and you can't erase it or take it back, in that manner of speaking. As once on the internet, it stays on the internet. And that's about us, Michaels. I came back to what we said before. We angels, Saint Michaels, or anything. We who is as God. We have, among others, I talk like Michael said, Mickey Gunnarsson said. If we are like God, it's a heavy responsibility, and with great and a great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. That's Stan Lee in the Spider-Man comic and in the Marvel movies, and I think that's what we have to do with Michaels. And also the number one reason I love Marvel movies, because they actually take responsibility in delivering a story behind a story about how to behave and be nice to each other and use our powers for good, and actually bring peace to Earth, like the Avengers movies is about. So that's gonna be awesome, seeing more of the Marvel Studios movies, as well as the Ghost in the Shell movie that's just released last week. I'll link to that. They released 4 teasers that was put together in a very cool way that brings hopes to this not being a sellout movie, but actually a cool Ghost in the Shell movie. Also this week, Elon Musk did his press conference interview talking about the SpaceX program and actually going to Mars and naming the first ship Heart of Gold from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's a really positive note and news. Because the sad news this part is that the CO2 level in the atmosphere has now reached 400 ppm, I think. And as far as we know, this is a point of no return, a window with a threshold we didn't want to get to, and it's irreversible. We can't come back, and that's really bad news. Because if you all know what one of the primary goals between Elon Musk and his Tesla and Sun City and SpaceX is actually using all his powers and all his money and might to create a society on Earth where we take care of Earth first, Mars second, and probably as a backup plan. We need to have a contingency plan, like he said, and we have to get going now because we never know. And just this week also, yesterday was the official release of a board game, back to the board games here, of a game called Terraforming Mars. That's actually a Swedish design board game. That's our second designer games here in Sweden. The first one being Nations, a big heavy Euro game. And this is our second game called Terraforming Mars. And this is a fun game. It's not as super heavy as I like them, but there's a fair amount of luck in the game. But it's fairly quick, and even if you don't win, you have fun building your own engine, terraforming Mars, with lots of cards and actions and science, and really cool game. And we played that yesterday, and that ties in to Mars events, for me at least. For the world, it's probably just Elon Musk, but for me and all my gamer friends, it's 2 Mars events in the same week. So that's awesome. Also, I'm a big board game fan. What that does for me socially and cognitively, and I use board games to train my cognition and my social skills. Or even if you're not a board game fan, there are lots of new interesting designer board games out there, so you should really check out designer board games. If you haven't, I'll link to an excellent beginner's guide about board games to you. And that's it. I'm coming close circle here. It's about, what this is about. I just done and talked about what I do for a living and redefining myself. One of my favorite things I do is do the Ikigai workshop, when you find your inner meaning in life, your superpower. You define what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what the world really needs, what you actually can get paid for making a living. You can actually do things without getting paid for them, but most of us have to make a living getting money in some way or form. So if you can combine all those 4, it's your Ikigai or your superpower, and that's a workshop I love to do. And that's about finding meaning and helping people find their meaning. I also want to do lots of, if you have listened to me before or just this talk, you can gets a sense of feeling that my burning passion and desire is creating a better future here on planet Earth. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to help companies navigating their future, help them do the best they can to become, because by doing good and doing better, it's now hard science that successful people and successful companies actually are the ones doing the good stuff, being empathic and doing open innovation and collaboration and creativity in a good way in your company. Actually good both for your money and your health and for Earth. They're good for yourself and your company and for society and for planet Earth as a whole. So it's a win-win-win-win. 4 wins, that is: self, company, society and planet Earth. Win-win-win-win. 4 wins. And that's just how I want to roll into the future, being a future captain, helping people navigating a future where we create the 4 wins. We're doing lots of different things, and just my podcast, talking to future heroes who actually work with creating the future and creating wins for others and for themselves, and just creating environment and events and workshops and doing keynotes about this awesome future we're gonna have together here on planet Earth. Spaceship Earth, I call it, because we are captains of Spaceship Earth, like Mr. Fuller said a long time ago, and that's one of the main inspiration why I call myself a captain, a future captain. And also a captain helps people navigate, and that's future captain helps people navigate the future. And as a future captain, I also take charge. Some futurists do trend reporting and try to predict what's going to happen and what's hot now, what's going to be hot in a month or a year or so. But I'm take the other way around, where I predict the future when you can create the future. So I'm going to help people create our future, their future, our common future. And that's also the role of a future captain. And I help doing that primarily by making you think about your future, talk with other people about the future, go out on events and actually actualize the future, and then actually do it, create the future. You're just not thinking and talking, but also doing and creating. So this is going to be awesome. So this fall I'm taking one of the best tools ever that I'm learning myself and that I want to use to learn others. It's a MOOC from the MIT by Ote Sharma and Peter Sanji called U.Lab, Transforming Business, Society and Self, or the new version called Leading from an Emerging Future. And it's a set of tools that I think every human on planet Earth should have a comprehension of how it works. So this course is amazing. Lots of people all over the world, 50,000 people took it last year, and we hope that it's even more this year who takes it. And if you haven't joined in, it's not too late. You can just join in and learn some of the stuff. You don't even have to take the whole course. Just learn how to do a case clinic in a coaching circle. One of the many tools in this course. That's probably the best. And if you just learn that part, it's still worth it, because then you help people solve problem in a meaningful, empathic, creative, silly way, or anything. Just open up, think outside the box, and be vulnerable, like Brené Brown talks about. And I want to combine the U.Lab with my favorite Daniel Priestley's thinking about being, how do you think as a company, and Seth Godin's combined thinking about both marketing and doing the right thing for yourself and society, and mix that up in my concept about going into the future as a future captain. So, and that's all about this, because we Michaels, at least this Michael, if you're listening on the audio pod, I'll also have a video of this on YouTube recorded. So I'm pointing and doing all the things, but I'm pointing at myself and I'm pointing at you. If you're a Michael, or if you're not a fellow human being, a future hero or future captain on Spaceship Earth, please join me in this quest to create the best possible future. Join Elon Musk, enroll others, find your local hub, or go out in the world and find hubs all over the world and connect with people and start talking and doing this better future together. Because there are no such thing as when people come together with a strong mission to create the future. We will far outrun the people who have negative or destructive missions, I think, because we can go the farthest, and we are the most creative, and the most silly and everything. So, and when doing things together for the right reason, you can go much farther than doing things to other people for the wrong reason. So that's it for me on St. Michael's Day. And if you want to join up with me in a way form, I live in Sweden, Varberg, but I also want to go back to San Francisco like during Nordic Impact Week. And if you want to know more about my Nordic Impact Week event, I have some of my blog. I go do a summarizing blog on that on my blog, Framtidspodden.com, and also I have at least 6 episodes in my audio blog, LordTalks, that I will link to as well on my other Soundcloud-channel. That's not the podcast, that's just a Soundcloud-channel where I talk about everything that happened during Nordic Impact Week in San Francisco. So I would love to go back into the world, and some of my content has been in Swedish before, but now I think as I go into this connected future, I'm going to do more and more content on English. Most of my written content in my blog is in English, and most of my podcast so far has been in Swedish, but I say half of my audio blogs has been in English, some in Swedish. But I'm gonna really gonna try to do a lot more in English, because I've connected with so many more English peoples now, and I'm getting better and more comfortable speaking English just for every time I do this, or every time I meet someone speaking English. So and that's a good point. Even with technology that's gonna translate for us, I think it's still important to know other languages than your own, and especially English, because I think that's the number one language in the internet. Maybe Chinese too, but at least English. Learn English, even if there's gonna be a babel fish in your translating for you, because you never know when tech fails, and then we're back to square one if you can't communicate or take part of content like this. And it's not easy to translate written and videos and audio content from live anyway. It's also going to be the wrong connotation or the wrong tone or anything, because it's better to learn English. I think it's how I really work hard on that. We're coming up to 28 minutes, and that's my magic number, because I'm born on the 28th of October, and that's just 1 month to my next birthday, and that's gonna be awesome, because that's the Swedish premiere of Doctor Strange, and I'm gonna do a Doctor Strange party, and I'm gonna do a crazy party and see the movie and everything. It's around Halloween, my favorite time of year. And I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing more of you in the future. And you can also my new episodes on the future pod, Framtidspodden, are coming out soon, and I'm gonna do a lot more LordTalks and also written blogs, and trying to put together my concept now during the 2 London visits as well. So join in. Together we create this awesome future. I think I've talked about everything in my paper here. I'm gonna talk about today, coming full circles. We are the Michaels. This is St. Michael's Day late at night. I'm now gonna just finish recording this and putting it up tomorrow, celebrating Michael's Day tomorrow as well, I think. Yeah, we are as God, and we better goddamn follow through on that responsibility in creating a better world. This is your favorite future hero, Michael Cillion, or Lord Cillion everywhere on the internet, signing out for you. See you in the next future.